very popular question that has probably been around since forever. Where do you see the game in the next month, months, year or years? I got the idea of this kind of a personal opinion video based on a thread I saw on the Star Wars The Old Republic subreddit. There was exactly that kind of a question posed, and in less than 14 hours at the time of recording the video, since the thread was created, we have over 100 opinions and comments posted already. Where do we think the game is heading? What do we think will become with Star Wars The Old Republic in the future? Let's see. My personal opinion, I haven't shared it in the thread, maybe I'll type it in some nice fancy letters later on or tomorrow, but I wanted to share that with you, as well as read some of the most interesting comments out of just being cautious and trying not to offend anybody. I would not read the owner of these comments and posts, but I would strongly encourage you guys to visit the thread, and probably you recognize me quoting some of those. My personal opinion, where the game is at the moment and where it will be in, let's say, 2 years. Not long ago, in an interview for a podcast, I've mentioned my thoughts that the game is probably going to expire around 2017. Why do I think that? First, because I really believe that someone somewhere out there is working on a second game based on Star Wars The Old Republic. I mean third actually overall MMO. But I believe, don't know why, we have absolutely no indication for that to happen, or nobody has spilled the rumor yet officially, that there is indeed a Star Wars The Old Republic 2, part 2 of our favorite game. We have no idea if such a thing is under development, who's making it, why, how, and when eventually it might be released. My personal prediction for 2017 was based simply on the fact that this engine from 2005-6, or, well, yeah, I think it's from 2006, really doesn't have any more to give. Every single patch, every single update, things get worse and worse. One of the main reasons, I believe, except for the money and for EA transferring horsepower or human power over to other priorities from BioWare, one of the main reasons why we don't see endgame content is because of the engine. Yes, I do believe firmly, and try to convince me otherwise. I don't think you will succeed. It's more likely that you're going to fail. This engine doesn't support anything. The game struggles with even pairing people, and what's left for Flashpoints where we have 4 players. Let's not even talk about 8 men, because it's still tolerable on a wide enough variety of PC machines. But when we go to PvP area, and God forbid to 16 men raiding, seriously, slideshow in 2016 with a game engine that's 9-10 years old? That's impossible. So, to some extent, I suppose it's time to say thank you, BioWare, for not creating Lagfest anymore. We're doing still the old Lagfest, and we keep complaining. I don't know if it's better to lag in new places or to keep lagging in old places. By old places, I mean the old operations, Flashpoints, and war zones. I also believe that the game will expire in 2017 because it will be 6 years old game, and not many MMOs survive that long. I do know about the everybody's favorite WoW, and it's more than 10 years old now, 11, 12, doesn't matter. You can tell me in the comments if it's 11, 12 years or whatever else. I think it was 2003 when it launched, or maybe early 2004. I do remember that Star Wars Galaxy survived for about 9 years, from 2005 all the way to 2000 and... Alright, yeah, it was from 2003 all the way to 2009 or 2011, sorry, that's then 9 years, yeah. From 2003 to 2011, I might edit that portion, but I might forget, so feel free to laugh at my struggling here. Another thing to bring up, why the game is about to expire, is because the competition is very severe, and it's very obvious that apart from Fallen Empire, we don't really have anything else going on at the moment. We are facing yet another year without group endgame content. That's fine. If we knew that there is going to be something else coming, that would be absolutely perfect and fine. We can wait. If BioWare told us, hey dudes, we're making a new engine or refreshing this engine to match the 2017 requirements for a modern game, that's why we're not bringing in new content, we would all be smiling all the way up to our ears. If you can imagine me smiling with a huge smile from one year to the next year. Yeah, I'm not rushing, I'm not hating, I'm not angry. I'm just trying to be more objective than I usually am. Yeah, most of the time on my videos and during the live shows, you see the positive side of me. But this thread here and all of the posts I've been reading here are really provoking me to shed some honesty and some sad beliefs from me. Let's read a few. So give me a moment to find one of the better comments that I've really liked. There is actually a question to the question. Honest question, if so many of you folks in the comment section say the game sucks and it's going to die off, why don't you just stop playing? Why do you keep logging in and paying money? This question is fun. I don't hate the game. I love the game and I would wish to see it go further and never stop. I still enjoy it, even though we don't have new group content. I enjoy what we have. And to some extent, that's really enough for me. I don't have too much personal time this last 1 year, and it doesn't look like I will have much more free time in the next year, so I can't really invest any more than this. I used to be semi-hardcore raider in the 2012-13 and to some extent into the 14th. But now not any longer, probably because the game went not a little bit, but a lot softer, a lot easier, probably because we don't really have any more hardcore raider style of endgame content. Maybe the reason is somewhere else, maybe it's because I'm aging, 31 years old is not as young boy as I once was, 4 years plus when I started playing for the first time. Let's check out maybe another comment and see what other people think. Star Wars The Old Republic is trying to be too many things and not succeeding at any of them. It wasn't to be an MMO with endgame, but they can't put out the quality or quantity of the other major titles on the market. It was to be a story-based role-playing game, but charges far more than a single-player title would cost, or even multiple installments of a Telltale game would cost. If you don't know, Telltale are the famous episodic story-based, heavily story-based gameplay games based on popular franchises such as The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, comic books, fairy tales, and other things like that. I myself played a couple of their titles, and while the graphics sucks balls seriously, because it's obviously that they've created the graphics part of the game just so that we have something to look at while we are experiencing the story, the dialogues, and the voiceover is just fantastic in those games that I've tried myself. I'm sure it is the same for the others, because that company just cares about their reputation, it seems. But the main topic here from this quote that I've just mentioned is Star Wars The Old Republic is trying too many things at the same time. Yeah, we knew when BioWare first announced that it's gonna include a fourth pillar. So story in an MMO, we always expected that to be a problematic incursion or, I don't know, involvement. We didn't know how exactly BioWare is planning to make us care about story when we're replaying things. And to some extent, I must admit, they failed with that. It's not exactly their fault or their failure, because I don't believe anybody can make it any better than them for an MMO game. If it's a single player, you can create multiple endings, many more branching options, different cutscenes, different outcomes, much more wide and open world, such as I always give comparison to The Witcher 3, because that's my next favorite game that I've been playing since last summer. That's the perfect game for multiple options, multiple ending, and reason for multiple replays. But it is a solo game, and yes, it is I don't know, probably over 100, 150 hours to play through once, and even though you haven't seen everything in that game, it's still a lot of time invested. You can finish one of the stories of SWTOR for much less, but remember that we have 8 origin stories in SWTOR. They are all single player, but they're still all amazing. Unfortunately, the what little challenge, the solo content, the solo leveling presented in the beginning is long gone. Pretty much basically now we just sit there semi-AFK, just clicking an arrow or something else so we don't fall asleep and get disconnected, while our companions, temporary or constant low companions, are doing anything for us and everything. It's not exactly fun. This is my most serious issue with the solo content. If the game presented challenge solo, I would be all up for it and would eventually, maybe even for a short period of time, forget about the existence of endgame group content. As long as there is challenge, I think most of us should be happy. Yeah, there will always be those complaints that we need to be grouped, we need to be doing stuff together because this is a multiplayer game. Strolling too far away from the main topic, I believe. Let's find another post to read and comment on that. By the way, most people here and their opinions involve no more than 1 or 2 years life for the game. Many people consider that the game is going to die out from content in the middle of 2017 because this is somewhere in this period of time where we expect Fallen Empire Season 2 to end. We know that Season 1 is expected to end in the middle or the end of the summer, depending if there are delays. But if I remember correctly, it's still August for 2016 when Season 1 is supposed to end. And pretty much immediately after that, I believe Season 2 should begin, or maybe if not immediately, then in the early autumn. And regardless of how long Season 2 is, they cannot keep it for longer than 7-8 months, I would say, maybe 10. This still means that by the middle of 2017, there is gonna be nothing else in the game, unless of course they start announcing new things. For the moment, we haven't heard absolutely nothing new in the game, major I mean, being planned for the near or distant future. It's all about Fallen Empire and story. There is a lot more story to be told. We have a shitloads of companions that are expected to return, and in the last live developer stream, they promised that they're doing their best to include as many of the old classic companions within the story. They don't want to introduce those companions just for the sake of having them back. We can always spawn them from the terminal on Descent, but that's not the point. BioWare wants to return the companions to us with story, and that's not easy to do apparently. Their team is thinning more and more. I saw here in this thread that last year, about 7-8 months ago, so that's probably around the summer of 2015, apparently the whole operation squad of developers, team of developers, has been fired altogether. I never heard of that. I don't know if it's rumor, if someone is just trolling, or maybe that's the truth. You tell me. Maybe that's something I've missed, being focusing too much in my own little world here. Alright, still searching for another interesting comment. Really, there are so many, it's just hard to pick one of them. Every single person here just pour their soul and just share their personal thoughts. Quite a few people are mentioning Knights of the Old Republic 3 because some people are expecting that EA is gonna give the MMO task for the next Star Wars game to another developer and task BioWare with creating KOTOR 3. I personally don't see how that's exactly gonna happen because we know that currently Star Wars The Old Republic doesn't really fit into the lore and it's not exactly canon. It has been confirmed, yes, SWTOR isn't canon at the moment, and we don't really know if it will be, what parts of the game will eventually be. There is so much story, history and lore just from SWTOR, not mentioning KOTOR 1 and 2, just from SWTOR there is tons and tons of lore and events spanning tens and hundreds of years of history, and it's not really that easy to accept all of this as a canon because, well, I suppose Disney doesn't play our game. I'm just including this because currently I'm working on, you probably know already, because I'm spamming your mail list and subscription boxes with a huge series of short videos about all of the Datacrons, but it's not exactly another Datacron guide video. I'm doing narrations for each one of them, and I'm reading the Codex lore update attached to each one of these Datacrons. And since I've actually realized that some of those Codex updates I've never read myself, it's incredible how well connected they are to each other, especially if you do them in the proper order from 1 to, what was the last one, 87. That's really useful, even though you think you tell to yourself, crap, I'm not really learning lore, I'm reading legends that tomorrow or day after tomorrow or next year will all be scrapped and will all be considered false and lies. Here is another funny comment. I think the next few years we will see a steep decline as subs drop off and a steep revival every time a Star Wars movie comes out. I like this comment, and it's one of the first ones from when the thread was posted. I like this one because you guys probably know that for the next 5 years we already have confirmed movies. That's including the 7th one. Next year we have a spin-off. The year after that we have episode 8. Then we have another spin-off which doesn't have a title yet, but Disney mentioned a few times here and there around the internet, or at least I see someone quoting Disney representatives, that they're already working on these 5 titles, and even though we may not know details about them, especially in the names of the movies, we know that they're already being worked on, whether it's script, maybe even shooting, or I don't know, just hiring people or doing casting or something else. It doesn't really matter. Important thing is for the next 5 years, the 5th one I missed, forgot to say, is gonna be obviously episode 9. And we do have more than this coming after that. It's not been announced, but I've just recently read somewhere that Disney plans to, well, let's call it like this, exploit Star Wars franchise and the Star Wars earnings capabilities for 100 years into the future. Yeah, probably you and me will be long dead before that 100 years expires, but hey, for the moment we should be happy that we have so much Star Wars coming at us. But you know, when something grows into such an extent, there is a possibility of it becoming boring. Or maybe we would just feel fed up with Star Wars at some point. I don't know. That point hasn't come to me, and I've been a fan of Star Wars for over 25 years now. So let's hope that the point where I get bored and fed up with the content never comes. Alright, back on the idea of the decline and the revival of the subscriptions for Star Wars The Old Republic based on the episodes. We already saw starting October and continuing November and especially December, because it's the holiday system, not so much because of the movie, but yes, because of the movie as well. From this summer, and because of the subscription model were introduced and pretty much told people, if you want to play our new content and our only content, you have to be a subscriber. So that was a very neat trick, and I actually applaud them for the brave decision to start asking people to subscribe just openly. Subscribe and you'll get this. Don't subscribe and you'll get nothing. I still believe that the subscription model for the game is the right choice, and I know that right now all of you guys who are free to play or preferred are cursing me on subscribing from my channel and promising to yourself to never see another video of mine. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I like the subscription model. I've always been a subscriber, and probably that's what's supporting my choice. When I am a subscriber, I can easily see the benefit of it. If I couldn't afford it, I hope that this moment wouldn't come. But if I couldn't afford it, obviously I would try to benefit from something else. Like, I don't know, just buying things now and then, trying to make it, and just cope with the limits of the game, of the preferred status. One last post, and maybe it will be time to wrap up this, because it's gonna go too long. There is a funny one. For this game to go anywhere, they need to fuck Eric off and actually listen to the community. It's really not that hard. He probably means Eric Musco, because if it's another Eric, I have no idea who else it could be and who else this person means. I personally don't mind Eric Musco. He's been doing everything he can. He babbles a lot during the live shows. They're not calling it live shows. They're calling it developer streams now and producer streams. He talks a lot, but that's his job. If he doesn't talk, he wouldn't be positioned there. And it's not that he doesn't want to help. I've been mailing with him, and I've been in contact with him now and then from time to time about different things, mostly related to my channel and video activity. He's been very generous to me a couple of times, giving some things for me to give away. It's not like he doesn't want to help. I feel that he does, but it's just that whatever he knows or doesn't know, it's not up to him. If he knows something and he cannot share it, he doesn't do that because he wants to troll us or because he wants us to feel bad and sad for not knowing the new information. It's just that he is not allowed, and everybody has to obey their boss. It's his work. I don't know how many of you guys might remember Eric Musko for when he was just a podcaster. I didn't listen to their show very frequently. Back then I was a fan of Darth Hater, but I still remember him and the small crew of Torocast. Right? Torocast was the show where he started off before BioWare found him and plugged him. That's it. A little bit confusing video, but hey, that's what I could scrape up based on that thread. The link is gonna be down in the description. Take a look. If you have a Reddit account, post your personal opinion. And take care. Always stay positive, even though this video might have sounded a little bit mixed up. I tried not to be too negative. I tried to be not too positive. I tried to be neutral and honest. And whether I succeeded, that's up for you to tell me. Bye bye. See you next time.